Hello.
Hi, how are
Hi.
you?
Pretty
Oh,
good. How are you?
Good.
A good holiday, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, mostly. We had some sickness kind of run through the family.
Oh
So,
no.
oh yeah, I mean, so it was fine. It's
The,
better now.
the flu? Was it the flu?
We had one person with the flu, and then the rest of us got a really bad viral infection that wasn't
Oh,
the flu. Some
oh
kind of
geez.
cold.
Oh geez.
Yeah. Well, but I figured I've been talking to other people and colleagues. It sounds like there's a lot of it going around.
That's what we've heard too. That's what we've heard too. I'm doing my best to avoid
Yeah, I would recommend that.
it. You sound okay now, though. You must
Yeah,
be
no,
feeling better.
much better the last couple days. But it
Okay,
was,
good. Good, good.
yeah. Everyone else okay? Anna, Steve?
Everybody's on mute, it sounds
you're
like.
on
Oh,
mute.
oh,
Well, I was down with the flu for Christmas, so I told Kaya
Oh
that.
no.
Yeah, we had. And then I got a. After that, I got a terrible stomach bug on New Year's, so I missed all the holidays. But I dropped 5 pounds, so yay!
ah, nice, nice. Yeah.
Sounds like it was a hard 5 pounds, though.
Yeah.
So we're just, are we waiting for someone?
I was just trying to get all my things signed on.
Okay, but
Streaming,
Joe
we
can't,
are
yeah.
closed captioning, which I'm not. I guess it's working. I see it transcribing, but oh, yes, there it is. Okay. Things are happening. I am on YouTube. I am recording to the cloud. Um, okay. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Um, right. So I'd like to open our first meeting of 2026 for the Madison Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Agency on January 5th, 2026 at 7:01 p.m. We have Lee Schumacher, Anna Loss, Steve Lowry, and myself as agency members, and Maria as our staff member, as everybody else out there. Um, the first item is election. So Joe can't be here tonight, but he's willing to be vice chair again.
Oh,
But
excellent. Excellent.
um, since he's not here, we can choose to postpone, or if you guys are comfortable, and I think he's comfortable, he doesn't want to be chair. So we could vote for chair and vice chair if you guys are comfortable doing it, recognizing that Joe is okay with vice chair, but not chair.
Do we,
Fine with that?
that's, I think we should do that and get it over with.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I nominate Kayla Friedenberg for president.
President, yes. How about just
Yeah,
chair?
president, chair, whatever. Head kahuna.
uh, all right.
Second,
Any, okay.
well, now we can
Well,
discuss it.
yeah. Yeah. Well, just in case anybody else wanted, I don't want to hog all the glory here for another year. If anybody wants to, step up, don't feel shy.
I'll see you in 2027.
Okay. All right. Um, all right.
So do we need
Okay.
need to vote?
Yes, I guess we do. So all in favor of me being chair for one more year, raise your hand, say aye.
Hi.
I
Any opposed? Okay. I will nominate Joe unless someone else wants to do it for vice chair for another year.
I second.
Okay. Any discussion? Again, share the glory or revisit in 2027. Okay. I'm seeing that we're gonna just stay the course. So all in favor of Joe as vice chair,
I
raise your hand, say
Uh,
aye. Okay.
Hi.
All right, great. So we have some stasis here in our makeup of the agency, and we have our first application. So um, all of our applications we're seeing tonight are going to be kind of for the first time, right? We received them last time, we're seeing them this time. So this one is 25-44 Stone Road. It's for a regulated activity permit for construction of a single family dwelling and site um, improvements within 100 feet of the inland wetland upland review area. And I assume we have a representative from the Doan Engineering. Is it Sam?
Hi, yes, it's me.
Mhm.
Great.
I still can't share my screen, so
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me make you I just allowed you to talk. Let me make you a panelist. Then you should be able to.
okay, awesome. Okay, can everybody see it?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so our client is proposing to build a 6-bedroom house and a pool and patio, all within, or mostly within the 100-foot upland review area. We'll have some grading, some fill, and we're going to push the tree line back a little bit. And I think that's about it.
Well, I'll ask a question. So can you point out the inland review, wetland review line?
Yes, that's this line right here. It goes pretty much straight through the house and then up to the other property line.
And it looks like how it's the closest,
Yep.
the house is like 26. What's the closest to the wetland boundary
Probably right around in here. It's about 60 feet or so.
for the house, but is the pool closer?
The pool is a little bit farther. The wetland line is down here in this corner. This is all wetlands.
Is that the line there that I, because
Correct.
it's,
This line right here is the wetlands line.
okay.
So there was, you're putting a big house within most of the regulated activity area, right? Is that correct? And a pool.
Correct. Most of the house
Is,
is in the regulated area.
yeah. Was there any uh, push to make it smaller or minimize how, have you pulled it as far as you can away from the wetland? That's a
Yes,
lot of house there.
we've pulled it as far away as we can, and I've minimized the horizontal disturbance to the upland review area. I chose a 2-to-1 slope coming down from the house. The current slope there is about 3-to-1, and in some spots 4-to-1, so it's not much steeper than currently is. And we couldn't go too much farther up this way because we'd be getting too close to the neighboring septic system.
Okay.
Additionally, the house, because of the large size, has increased setbacks, right, Sam?
Correct.
So then if you pushed it further, you're not going to comply zoning wise.
Yeah, we have about a foot or so on the right side, but I like to leave about a foot for the contractor so they have some leeway room.
Okay. So it's a decision to make a bigger house, which then made these setbacks bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Have you got a buyer for this house or is this a spec house?
I believe this is a custom house. I'm not on the contractor side, I'm just on the design side.
And can you explain what you mean about pushing the tree line back? Like, what did
So
you?
our current tree line is let me draw that. Our current tree line is about in here, and then it goes up like this. And we made our slopes 2 to 1 so that way we wouldn't push the tree line too close to the wetlands. And our proposed tree line is down here by the silt fence.
And by tree line, is what exactly do you mean? Are those existing trees that you're leaving?
Yes, it's mostly shrubs down here and larger bushes towards the corner, but there are some medium-sized trees, probably around 24 inches or so in diameter. And we're trying to retain as much of that as possible.
Okay.
How many
You
big trees,
have,
how many
and go
large
ahead.
trees are in the area that you're clearing?
Um, Most of them are below 12 inches. You can see some 10-inch cherries, um, a few 5 and 6 inch cedars in there. There's nothing really big where we're clearing. It right now it's mostly open and lightly vegetated with grasses.
And so where are the limits of are you saying the limit of clearing is also that tree line at the bottom of the slope?
Yes, the limit of the clear line is the tree line at the bottom of the slope, and the silt fence will be down there.
And how close is that to the wetland?
That's about 30 feet or so.
So you're clearing all the way down within 30 feet of the wetland?
We're only pushing the tree line back about 10 to 15 feet at the farthest point.
A tree line, you mean a bunch of pucker brush?
Yes, pretty much. Shrub line, tree line.
Yeah, blackberries.
I'm not sure if there's blackberries there.
You should take a walk.
I can do that.
So I guess so I guess what we'll be interested in what you could maybe elaborate on is you have a 6 bedroom house mostly within the regulated activity area, upslope of a wetland, and you're clearing within what, 30 to 40 feet of the wetland. So how are you mitigating any type of erosion from the clearing? I know this is newly put onto the plan, as of, I guess, currently like New Year's Eve. So it'd be helpful if you could elaborate a little more on what wasn't, um, what is the most recent revision to this plan, given that it was submitted, you know, kind of up to the deadline there.
The most recent revision to this plan was putting the pool on here. It's within the setback area, and we're proposing to put a 4 foot retaining wall around it and bringing the grade up. That's the main thing, and then there was some other slight revisions. We modified the stormwater to include infiltrators up here by the driveway. So all of our roof runoff will be going to subsurface infiltrators. And as for the slope, the contractor will be getting a landscape architect to do a planting schedule on the slope and having it mulched so that we can reduce erosion and runoff.
And do you have details of that planting plan?
No, Rich Snarsky is a wetland soil scientist. He went out there and flagged the wetlands yesterday, I believe, and he will be helping to do the wetlands planting schedule, I believe.
Do you have a schedule for that, getting that accomplished?
Schedule, I would say within a week or two.
So I guess for the commission, this is not something we have to act on tonight. We could wait and, hear more about the planting plan. Sounds like stormwater management is up away from the wetland, but clearly that there'll be some interest in understanding exactly what's going to happen on that vegetated, hopefully, slope near the wetland. Um, I know Maria had noted in her staff report or her, report to us about what to look for, that the plan needed updated wetland flagging. So I assume is that what Rich Snarsky has
Yeah.
done, and that will be updated then on the plan. If he went out today, it'll be updated
Yes,
on the next version of this.
yes, the next version of this will have updated wetland flags. It's just he went out and flagged them yesterday or today, so it's a matter of us just going out there and locating them. But there are field wetland flags out there right now.
Okay. And is there a stockpile for,
Yes, the stockpile area is up here by the sanitary system.
okay. And I think,
Where did, oh,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
no, I'm looking at, I see that a plan was just uploaded at 4:20 today.
Yes, I believe those were additional architectural plans.
No, I see a site plan. I opened up a site plan that
Uh,
was uploaded, max site plan uploaded at 4:20 today.
the most current plan has a revision date of 12/30/25.
Well, this one doesn't have any revision dates on it, so I'm not sure why it was uploaded.
Maybe if
I'm
you
not
show,
sure.
yeah,
No revision dates.
Uh, I'm not sure if that was on our end or somebody else's end. I can double check on that.
Yeah, it looks like Lenora uploaded it, but I don't know why, because this one doesn't show a stockpile. It looks like an older version. Doesn't look like the one that has the stockpile on it or the revised stormwater, or if there was architecturals that were supposed to be uploaded, there was not.
Okay, I'll take a look at that tomorrow.
Okay.
So I guess the other question that had come up is um, what you have some erosion and sedimentation control measures, but are there, and I guess this is on this one, you're going to have some extra hay bales where the slopes are 2-to-1, which would be on that side facing the wetland. Is that correct?
Yeah, I called out provide hay bales to reinforce where slopes are greater than 2-to-1. Most of this is 2-to-1. I don't expect anything to be greater than that, but it wouldn't hurt for the contractor to put in hay bales on the south side.
Yeah, I think that would, given the slope and given the extent of the construction being proposed, that would probably be something to just have on that that south side of that whole area that's facing the wetland to reinforce um those ENS measures.
Okay.
have you asked
And
Rich Sinarski to comment on the quality of the wetland and the impact of uh, all this work being done in the upland review area is going to be on the
Um,
wetland?
I can ask him for further comments, but one of his comments was it doesn't make sense to put any sort of planting at the base of the slope because it would immediately be overtaken by the vegetation that's already down there.
Okay.
So based on that comment, I think the only place that we will end up doing vegetation is on the slope to help stabilize it and reduce erosion.
So
and
he doesn't agree to do plantings on the slope, you're saying?
He doesn't agree to do them at the very base of the slope.
Okay.
He thinks that they would just be wiped out by the native brush that's down there. I think he called them May bushes or something like that.
well, maybe it's bayberry. I don't know.
Fine.
Um,
Kayla, this is the same area, right? That we
yeah,
walked that had a lot of the beach roses and right that we walked
yeah,
through.
that I think so. Yes, there's some. Yes, and this is the one that has a
We came in
50-foot
from the
no.
Stone Road side, but I think we passed, like walked by this property. Maybe? I'm not sure.
Maybe, but is this the same? wetland that's has the no mow
No,
area?
so hard to say where this ends up. Sam, can I share my screen for a sec?
Sure.
So this is the property we're talking about. This is the
Mm-hmm.
property that has the house, the new house on it here. This is the wetland that that it's on the base of this property. But I don't know off the top. I think the no-mo is here, right?
It's around, I think it's around the whole, there was supposed to be a no mow around the
And
whole, a
here
50-foot.
too, because I think the house
Yeah,
now exists here, and this has a rain garden or something in this area, because the house sits like way back here.
right.
And
But
I
there's a
think that the
50-foot no
driveway's here
mow.
and the mo no
Yeah,
mows is this area here.
right. But my understanding was it was around the entire wetland. Was it
This entire
the
area.
50
Yeah,
foot?
I kind of don't remember off the top of my head. I could pull
I
the old
could,
site plan for
if I
this
could chime
parcel if you
in,
want.
I have the subdivision plan in front of me, and it's just the bottom of that 103-1 parcel up against the wetlands.
But it was modified, right? The from the original subdivision, the no-mo area. Because I think the no-mo area came into play, Sam, when they designed for the house on um
Okay.
I don't think we
241.
modified it. I didn't think we modified the no,
Oh
but I
no,
don't
I
know.
thought that's when it came in. I didn't think it came into play during the original subdivision in 2014. I thought it came into play when there was the regulated activity permit for the house. I could be wrong.
Well, it sounds like in any
Yeah.
case, it's this that the whatever the southern part of that wetland.
Right. Uh-huh.
I did have two quick questions.
Yes.
For the FEMA zones, I see that we have zone AE elevation 12. Does that elevation line, it looks like it doesn't follow elevation 12 on the site specifically. Are those
So,
topo lines site specific or is that like LiDAR or something?
so FEMA flood zone lines, um, they don't necessarily always follow the elevations exactly. Um,
Right.
that's that's just where the water could reach, and um, the FEMA maps aren't entirely accurate because they don't run hydro analysis on everything. It's on a larger scale. So when you do like FEMA map revisions, and you do it more specific, then it really hones it in. So it's pretty close to the 12, but not exactly on it, and that's most likely the reason why.
Okay. And from Rich Snarsky, if we can just get confirmation that we're in January, that ground hasn't frozen, and that we can confirm either the presence or absence of alluvial soils, because we do have a floodplain here.
Okay, I'll ask him.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think well, given the slope, I think we're going to want to see a detailed native planting plan um, for that slope.
Okay.
Um, so when you guys whoever talks to Rich Snarsky, that's definitely something that we'll want to see. Um, I guess uh, you know, just looking at this, I'm just looking at it on my screen. So is so you're gonna have the limits of disturbance or clearing. I guess it sounds like basically at this the foot of that slope, which
Correct.
means there shouldn't be any mowing or anything beyond that,
I don't expect there to be mowing on that slope.
or even beyond it, like closer to the wetland. You're
No.
already kind of pushing up there on the wetland. So there shouldn't be
No,
any clearing. There should be nothing past that bottom of the slope.
correct.
Okay. And right, no, there shouldn't be any mowing on the slope. That should be a vegetated, sturdy slope. And then the pool is going to have retaining wall.
Yes.
Okay. Um, so for the agency members, are there any other, and Maria, anything else that we'd like to see on a final site plan for next month?
I think we covered it before, but just updating the general note number 1 once we have the updated wetland flagging and differentiating what's from 2014 versus, a few days ago.
Anybody else?
Well,
Um,
I think,
Maria did, oh, go ahead, Steve.
I think we need to be careful with erosion coming down that slope during construction.
Yeah, no, I
It's,
agree.
you can't just have I mean, that's gonna be fill, which is probably gonna be fairly easily eroded if we get a heavy rainstorm, which there's always that probability.
Hmm.
And
No, and I think,
Did
yeah,
it,
go ahead.
this isn't gonna work well on that steep of a slope.
You
this is,
use like a temporary erosion blanket.
Yeah,
you mean after the fact or during the,
during,
yeah.
because I'm sorry to say I've had some experience with that.
I think I might have suggested some kind of reinforcement during, um, you know, because of the slope.
And even when they're planting in there, they need to have, I don't know, it almost seems to me like they should establish grass and then go back and put in vegetation, put in shrubbery and such. Just to protect the slope, because if you go in and plant shrubbery, why you've just got loose dirt that can
Loose dirt. Yeah, and these are all good things that we could, Sam could, discuss with, Rich. Um,
Yeah, I think there
detailed
needs,
planting plan.
yeah, I think there needs to be something detailed, recognizing there's this concern, um, for this wetland that we know is a high quality wetland. Um, and you're building on a slope right above it, and we'll want to see, what you're doing to minimize disturbance, given that everything almost is in the regulated activity area.
Okay.
Um, Maria, is there anything else? It looks like they got their cut fill calculations in.
They did their cut fill, they did their stormwater, there was some minor zoning things that, I talked to Sam about today that needed to be modified. I did ask the same question, if it was a custom home, like with a buyer or a spec, because, um, there's not a lot of room for forgiveness here if, it's one of those ones that comes back for modifications, so.
Yeah, no, there's not a lot of scope there. So if there's a client and they want anything else, or they think they want anything else, now's the time.
Mhm.
Or if they want to make it smaller, that would make it easier. Now's also a good time. Um, all right, anything else from agency members? We can always, if we think of something, since we'll see this again next month, we can pass something on to Maria and she can pass it on to the applicant. Okay. All right. So does that uh get you started, Sam, for the next revision of the site
Yes.
plan?
We'll have all that stuff ready for you next month.
That'd be
Okay.
great.
fantastic.
All right.
All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Um, for our next act, this is a
Of a single-family dwelling with detached garage and associated activity within the 100-foot upland review area.
I'm assuming if Michael is Michael Harkin, he could raise his hand. Oh, yes. Okay.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi.
Long
Ready
time
for
no
me?
see, Michael.
Yes, we're ready.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Madam Chairwoman, members of the commission. For the record, my name is Michael Harkin. I'm a professional engineer and principal of Harkin Engineering, located at 78 Wolf Hollow Lane in the town of Killingworth, Connecticut. Here tonight on behalf of my clients, Dennis and Wendy Cole, for their property at 983 Boston Post Road. I will share my screen. Can everybody see the drawing on the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So the project plan set is the Cole residence. Dennis and Wendy Cole will have purchased the property or at the final stages of purchasing the property. They are current Madison residents. They're downsizing to basically move and still stay in Madison and live on the site. So the site is a vacant parcel. It's named 983 Boston Post Road. It's known as map 28, lot 155. Again, Dennis and Wendy are the owner and applicants. The land surveyor of record is Anderson Surveying. The soil scientist of record is Rich Snarsky from New England Environmental Services. Additionally to that, we did have Davison Environmental also work on the project. A report was submitted regarding that. And then the civil engineering firm of record is Harkin Engineering, my company. The next sheet in our project plan set is the actual survey of the property. If you follow my cursor, this is along Boston Post Road, and then it comes around. And you can see on the property itself, there's a large wetlands. And then you can see off the site on the Kensington Acres condominiums, we had Rich also go there and check and flag that small pocket of wetlands that are there as well. It's also important to note that there's a stone wall that comes down where my cursor is. Again, this is Boston Post Road at the light. If you took a left, it's Lover's Lane, and if you took a right, it's Liberty Street, just to orientate ourselves with where we are. This is the giant White House up on the top of the Naba Ledge, and this is the very open wooded area that you see as you drive by. To the far east of it is that garage area that you see right here. So again, the project is a proposal of a single-family residential dwelling to the rear of the site. We'll be utilizing the existing driveway that's already in, coming off with a 15-foot driveway. We'll have a detached garage with a small office workout area above, and then we have the house as you see here. Technically, we're calling out as a two-bedroom house, but it's actually a one-bedroom house. It's designed for one floor living, so there is no second floor. It is called out as a two-bedroom house because there's a potential to turn the study of the house into a living space for one of the parents, in case they get elderly and need to get some home care, that they do have the option of turning that one study area into the second bedroom. Hence, we called it out as a two-bedroom, but the architectural plans submitted are actually for a one-bedroom. So again, the driveway comes in. The driveway is located as far possible from the inland wetlands. The septic system is located where my cursor is. Again, it's a pump system located as far as possibly can from the inland wetlands. We have the stormwater system in the back. So pre versus post development is the same. We show the propane tank for an emergency generator back in this vicinity. And then you can see we have the patio in the rear of the structure where my cursor is. I know the commission always likes to know how far the edge of the structure is to the wetlands. We have it labeled out as 32 feet. You can see that we're having this existing stone wall remain along the driveway edge. And then we have the proposed water service and the electrical services on the east side of that wall. And the reason for that is we plan on, obviously, this is a temporary disturbance. We're then going to plant a section of white pines around the property just to really make it private. And then we're actually also putting a gate and a fence where my cursor is around the property. Now, to the west side will be a decorative privacy fence, virtually so the house up on top can't look down and see in, as well as the condominiums in back, just to keep it private. And then we originally called out on our plan to have a 6-foot chain link fence. I know that Maria had made a comment to us, and I think she put in the staff report that she would like to see that as a split rail fence in order to let any of the potential wildlife be able to go through there. We don't have a problem with that. I know that it is in the staff report. So I just want to put it out to commission that we don't have a problem with making that a split rail. But the whole intent is to virtually section off the remainder of this property with the wetlands, and now have no further interruption of going to that wetlands. Because we have the wetlands on the site, we're not doing a full foundation, anything like that. It's basically a slab on grade design. And we're doing all this basically to minimize the amount of development and construction on the site. We do have areas of stockpiling, which again, you can see is in the farthest corner from the wetlands. And then the site has silt fence where my cursor is going. Again, in Maria's staff report, she wanted to know if our intentions was that for the silt fence to remain the limit of disturbance. And for the record that, yes, we are stating that the silt fence will be the limit of disturbance. We also show a series of staked hay bales directly adjacent to the wetlands, just in case there is any further disturbance or sedimentation headed there. We don't really envision a lot of disturbance and a lot of sedimentation there. There's a lot of rock and there's very, very minimal amount of filling, cuts and fills. The only area where there's a little bit of work is where my cursor is. There's a knobble ledge that has to be blasted in order to get the 15-foot wide driveway in. But again, we have the zoning chart here where we meet all bulk zoning requirements. We do have the house footprint as well as impervious calculations on here. This next sheet that's on your plan set is the septic system design. Now, because we have 2 separate structures tying into one septic system, this project plan set had to be sent to the State of Connecticut Department of Health for approval, which we do have State of Connecticut approval. We also have local health department approval for this project. And then the following detail sheet is for the septic system for both to adhere to the state and local requirements of the details, the pump chamber, cuts and fills, and all the soil testing on the site. Where the septic's going, it's actually very good soils, a lot of sand and gravel. And then our last sheet, we have all the requirements for erosion controls, the DEP notes as far as any fueling of machines and dust control, storm drainage calculations to prove that our detention system is large enough to handle what we're proposing. And then we have the silt fence and staked hay bale details. We do show a construction entrance if needed. Right now, we're not calling it out on the plan just because we have an existing 50-foot wide bituminous concrete area that we'll be going off onto. We do have the note that if there's any additional erosion controls needed, that either myself or the town have the right to tell the contractor to put them in. So with this project, and I'll stop sharing my screen, just some general housekeeping. We did submit the architectural plans of the building to the Inland Wetlands Commission. That was uploaded for everybody's review. Average height calculations were checked by the architect. We did send a permission letter from the old owner of the property, just giving us permission when we started this project months ago. Obviously my clients didn't own it and we needed permission in order to make application. We did submit a parcel history as prepared by Attorney Brin, just basically giving the highlights of when the parcel was created and what was there previously. We submitted a map of the inland wetlands by Rich Snarsky. It's important to note that the wetlands were flagged back in 2014. We had them reflagged back in 2024. We had them reflagged again back in 2025. And then we also submitted a report from Davidson Environmental. We had Matt go out there and just check to give a description of the types of materials, plant materials that were out there, what's going on with the wetlands. And he also checked Rich's flagging and confirmed that nothing has changed. And that was just done in December of 2025. Again, we have state and local health department approval. And with that being said, that ends my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Thank you. All right, agency members, questions, Mr. Harkin.
I was
Will the
looking at
water, go ahead.
sorry. I was looking at the wetland function value report, and I think somewhere in there it talks about wildlife habitat and the potential for a vernal pool on site. Do you know if that vernal pool study was done throughout the various flaggings?
I don't think I'm going to be honest with you. It was done in December, and that's not a good time to look at vernal pools. It was just noted that it has the potential. Um, and then if you look at the actual function, the summary of wetlands functions, most of them were used on the site. So
Hmm.
I hope that answers your question, Anna.
Yeah, and I think I read that too. I think because it has water right now, and it probably, this is the time of year these ponds are starting to fill, and it looks like it. And I think that's what Davidson said as well, and they're pretty good about highlighting that. But yes, I don't think this hasn't been surveyed at least recently in a time of year where that would be verifiable.
Yep. And that's why we bought Davidson Environmental in to check out the site and give a fair value and assessment of the entire site.
I think it's safe
Any other
to
questions?
assume that probably does act as a vernal pool.
Say that again. I didn't hear
I
you.
think it would be safe to assume that that will act as a vernal pool as far as wildlife goes.
I can't make that decision. That's something that, a soil scientist after, months and months of studies has to make that decision. But what we did is, you know, the parcel's been there for a while. It dries up. In the summer, it fills with water, and partly because I don't know how it's fed. There's a little inlet to it. But I do know that I think it outlets underneath the state road and then feeds the wetlands across the street because there's a pocketed stream of wetlands over there as well.
Yes, there is.
Other questions for the applicant?
No.
Well, I'll ask. So the blasting, do you anticipate that impacting any of the site, particularly the wetland at all?
No, not at all. Reason being is because there's a house directly adjacent to the area and it is a small section that has to be blasted out. The blast won't be that large. They have to do a pre-blast assessment. There won't be like a ton of flying debris where dust and things like that can get into the wetlands. They're very small knobs in order, obviously, so it doesn't affect any of the house foundations or the condominiums that are, directly adjacent to it.
Would that blasting take place like month-wise?
It depends what I mean, you can blast right now, but it all depends. I would have to say in the springtime, beginning part, I think the homeowner wants to get started. Again, I don't know their time frame, but I do think they want to, move out of their house and downsize. So I would assume that it would be in 2026.
Um,
Wondering, Kayla, how would we handle a potential vernal pool, with the noise and vibration of blasting, not knowing if that actually does host the species?
oh, that's a good question. I don't know. Well, I guess obviously it would depend when it happened, um, and how intense the blasting is. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about. I will think about that for a second. Um, And so I'll think about that. Another question I had. But thank you, Anna. That's great. So I'm gonna try and multitask in my head for a second.
Is that something
But a
Rich
question,
can comment on as well?
yeah, maybe, or Davison,
Yeah,
maybe they
Davidson.
can. Um, One question you talk about this planting plan. Um, is there a reason white pines seem to be chosen for their screening purposes?
We call that white pines just because they wanted almost like a wall, so there's no more intrusion towards that wetlands. We're open to, as Maria said, she wanted just to see before a building permit's issued, just the actual tree type we're using and the spacing, which we have no problem providing. But generally white pines, if they wanted arborvitaes, just they don't want to be able to have to see that section of the property, nor do they want to use that section of the property. Hence, they want to, basically build a wall. If you remember, kind of like on 21 Liberty Street, right across the way, we did a swimming pool there, and the
Oh,
pool was
that
almost right up
arb.
against the wetlands, but they
Yeah,
had
yeah, yeah.
a wall of arborvitaes, so they couldn't see the wetlands or see Route One or anything else. That's kind of the intent. They didn't want to have to put up a decorative fence on that side, so
Okay.
they're trying to use that. But when we go to a professional, which is really no big deal, they're going to tell us what to plant and how big and what caliper and on center.
Okay. But you don't have that now. This is just a
No, because it's
placeholder
something that's
idea.
so minor in the project that it was just asked as Maria kind of just threw it in there. Hey, you call out as white pines, in a planting buffer. Can you just be more specific? Before we issue a building permit, and we're yeah, total agreement that we would do that.
Okay. And I guess as you mentioned, the chain link fence is less than ideal, so a different option there would be great that allows passage of wildlife underneath over.
Yeah, that's when we've been discussing this with Maria and going back and forth and making the revisions over the last few months, which she suggested. And in the report it said split rail, and I did talk to her, and we don't have a problem with that. It's still sections off that portion of the property and still allows the animals to go back and forth.
Um, okay. Well, I think thinking about the blasting, you don't have a sense of construction timing, is that right?
Well, I would say, I mean, it's someplace in 2026. Right now, we can get in there, we can drive in there without any issues. Either get the driveway in exact location or to start, building the house. We don't really need to blast right off the rip. Um, It'd be nice to do that to get it over with. Uh, it's a 1-to-1 rock face, and we have to dig into it about 5 feet. So it's maybe a day of blasting, if that. That's drilling and blasting. It's not like it's a huge deal.
Okay.
It's not like we're taking out truck and trucks of cubic yards of rock. It's a 1 day kind of drill and blast.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously, which sounds better than days and days because depending on the time of year and depending on what's there, which of course we don't know because it's not a great time of year to figure out amphibians or reptiles or whatever's there, and most of which, if they are there, are going to be estivating and hunkering down in various ways. Um, doing it now could be detrimental because it might disturb them. Doing it later during breeding season might be less than ideal. Not sure, but it seems like, given what you've described, if that's indeed the case, where it's, maybe a day, then, I guess it might be worth asking Davison about it as well. So I think someone mentioned that, um, and just seeing if there's a better time if it were a vernal pond, to do the blasting.
I mean, we can
That's-
if we hammered, the other option of blasting is hammering. if we hammered, it would take weeks upon weeks and probably create more disturbance. Um,
I'm not saying not to blast. I'm just wondering if
yeah,
there's a better time, a more ideal time in the
yeah.
scheme of things.
Honestly, what we can do is, upon a condition of approval, we can get a time that from Davidson, what they say is the best time to do the work, and you can make that as condition of approval that we won't do any
I was
blasting
gonna
or any of that
suggest
work
that if
until
they,
that time.
I was
Okay.
gonna suggest that if they want a updated report from him,
Yeah, we can get
be
an updated
submitted.
report as a condition of approval prior to any building permits and whatever, Matt says, is the correct time that he sees to blast that will have least amount of effect on the environment. We'll adhere to. We don't have a problem with that.
Okay. I think that'd be good. Um, yeah, thanks, Anna. Other, I'm looking through my notes. As I look through my notes, go ahead.
I did have one quick edit on note 27. If we could just identify the date that the delineation was most recently done.
Um,
So it's in the file somewhere, Anna, because Maria had asked me that
I
exact
noticed
question.
that.
It was done in 2014 originally. It was done in 2024. It was done in 2025, and it was checked in the report submitted by Davison in December of 2025. So if we go,
Snarski was 11
um,
14 24.
yep, December 13th, 2025, Davison checked the flagging. The flagging's still out there, so he was able to check it. So it was
Right.
just checked last month.
Would we want to denote that on the plans that we approve, though?
Yes, it would be good to, if we can.
Yeah, we can, as a condition of approval, we can put the exact, we'll put all the wetlands dates that was flagged and checked on the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. It helps as, these, plans change and owners
Yep.
change.
Yep.
Um,
So
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, just so I document the two things that we're going to add to the plan as a condition of approval. The first would be the exact wetlands flagging or the most recent wetlands flagging that Anna had requested. The second thing is we're going to actually put the dates allowed for blasting on the plan as well, just so the contractor knows. And then we'll get that exactly from Davidson Environmental when they see fit that we should do that work.
Right. And I, you know, as you said, you've seen the staff report, a condition of approval will probably include, having more information of the planting plan.
Yep.
Um, so the limits of disturbance, those, oh, I see. Is that dotted
The
line,
dotted
that
line,
dark?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, the
Yep.
dotted. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that's where
Okay.
the silt fence is going to be. That's going to be the limited disturbance. Generally, the way we handle it is we give it to the surveyor. He goes out there and puts ribbons along the trees, and that's kind of the do not cross line when they take the trees down, just so the person doing any of the work at the site knows not to take too many down.
Okay. And do you have a sense, since it is a wooded area, yeah, how many trees are going to come down, especially the ones closer to the
Yep.
wetland?
So the only ones that I saw of any value, there were two 18-inch trees over in there that were coming down. They were towards the rear of the property. Um, Other than that, it was a lot of scrub, a lot of brush, a lot of fallen dead trees in there. There were a lot of dead cedars in there. I know because all the points are sticking out and I didn't want to get poked. Other than that, the area was disturbed at one time. There's a couple of telephone poles on the site, so power and stuff used to go through there. It used to be cleared out, so it's not heavily wooded. It's just not heavily wooded in the area that we want to build in. Off more around the wetlands where we're not touching, there are, a lot better quality trees and growth in there. But again, we're not going to be touching that area.
I would assume like the area that was disturbed was the area that used to house the
The
billboards, right?
billboard.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yes, yes, Maria, yep. Again, there's still telephone poles and wires still on the property where we're building. We'll have to take down.
Um, other questions? So we can act on this tonight, and Maria has prepared a staff report, and we've identified a couple of extra things that we'd like to add if for whenever we do this. Are you guys wanting to act? Do you want to?
I think so. I think Mike did a good job on the plans. Everything's pretty clear.
I think the
Anna,
house is
go,
very
Steve.
close to the wetland, but I think the design has been done well for the property and how tight things are going to be. I don't have a problem with it.
Anna, your thoughts? Or
I was gonna say I might be the odd man out. We may want to wait, but as long as it's in the condition of approval for, getting what am I trying to say? Documenting impacts to wetlands and species with the blasting. Um, I guess that would be my only hook to hang my hat on for waiting.
Chloe, have you ever seen any studies on blasting impacts on vernal pool animals?
have I seen any?
Yeah,
I have, not recently. I looked it up for um other applications. And the answer is, in part, it depends on geography, how close, it's context dependent, right? And that's
yeah.
why I was asking about, um, you know, how long it's going to be and where it's going to be and the timing, because yes, there can be impacts, but it really is dependent on what is living there, and also um, how close it is, how intense it is, all of that. So it is
That's
not my particular area of expertise, but yes, I mean, there's definitely documentation out there on that.
Yeah, we'll get it from our professional. We'll have our third party, who's a total individual consultant, tell us what time, of year he wants us to blast or do that work, and we'll just adhere to what he has to say.
that's all under the assumption that it's a potential vernal pool. There's no study done, so we don't know
Right?
one way or the
It
other.
may be nothing, but we'll just err on the side of caution.
I mean, I think given that it's holding water and it's documented to dry and fill, we don't have documentation of what's living there, but I think given Davidson's report, and given that he said it could be, given that he saw it in December, you know, being being conservative about it, and if we just treat it like it is, and then being cautious about the blasting and getting this information, I think would be helpful. And there's the functions and values, were pretty high. It's got flood storage. It has, there's a lot of primary and secondary functions and values there. Um, I totally so I guess um, so we the blasting that we had seen most recently never happened, right? So we went up to that vet, and that was going to be a ton of blasting right near that pond, and they ended up, completely changing their plan, right? So they didn't have to blast. Um, and I think that particular case was definitely one. It was right next to the wetland, um, that is vernal. Um, and I think, and it was going to be a lot of blasting. So I think in this case, getting Davidson out there to give guidance on the best way to go about, assuming, I hope, that it is, as you say, Mike, that it's a 1 day deal, that that's that would be great. If it's 1 day and you can get guidance, then I think that'll be really helpful. And that errs on the side of caution and protecting what could potentially be a vernal pond at a time of year where we can't, we've got a couple more months until we can verify that.
Yeah, I always say that's why we hired a third party that's independent from us to tell us what to do and do it correctly. So we don't have a problem with that, making that a condition of approval.
Um, that being said, Anna, I don't want to, coerce you into, you know, agreeing, or of course you can vote however you want. Um, but if we felt comfortable, at least, putting a series of conditions on this where there can't be any forward movement until we get answers on the blasting and, we get those other things knocked out that
Hmm.
then, we get a start.
Out of curiosity, say Davidson did come back and say, "Oh, there's going to be big impacts." And again, this is me shooting out a hypothetical. Um, how would that impact our approval with conditions?
Well, that is a great question.
Just out of curiosity, Mike, when he went to the site, he did know that you were gonna have to blast, right? Or no?
Yeah,
Oh, did Davidson know?
Yeah.
yeah, yes. Yep. And it was just that it's a small area as far away from the wetlands as you could possibly go. And the reason for that is we're trying to keep the driveway and all the disturbance away from the wetlands to keep that wetlands intact and stay away from it.
I mean, I'm assuming, I can't say for sure. I would assume that if there was going to be a potential impact, you would have said it at the time, but I can't assume that really. Um,
No, not if he was, explicitly asked. So,
yeah.
um, can you, so can you say again where that bit of blasting is supposed to
Sure.
happen?
Sure. I'll share my screen and then let me just get it here. Well, give me 1 second.
And I guess, Anna, to your question, it sounds, not myself being an engineer or any of that. I guess, what Michael was saying is the other option is to manually hammer out that spot, which has its own issues, perhaps.
Hmm. Similar issues, yeah.
Okay. Okay, everybody. Can you see where my cursor is?
Uh-huh.
That's the small section area of blasting.
Is that vegetated right now?
No, it's rock.
So it's all rock right now.
It's rock. Yep. What's happening is this house, and you can see the contours, how they're breaking out, is
Yeah.
basically sitting on a hunk of ledge. And at the end of the ledge, there's beautiful sand and gravels all along here, probably from outfall. But we need to create that small area, that line right there, just to get the driveway in. And again, when they're blasting, the blasting is, they'll have to mat it against this wall. So any of the blast is going this way. It's not going directly into the wetlands. And it's not like you see on TV when they blast. They put down these mats and it's a small rumble. You don't have this shooting of debris and everything on there. And then what happens is they go in with an excavator, they load it in a truck and they take it away.
Kind of looks like the mat burps.
Exactly. You'll hear 3 blows of a
They go,
whistle, a little rumble, and that's it.
I think they actually, another application, they had actually shown a video of what happens.
Yeah. It's a whole lot of buildup for a whole lot of nothing. But again, whatever time of year, Davidson Environmental tells us to do the work, we have no problem doing it at that time. Again, like I said, you could see it's only to get this part of the driveway in. We can still do 90% of the work on the site before we get to here. And there's really no problem even having the house there and doing the blasting work. It's
So
such
if
a
Davison came back after you issue an approval, or you can condition it upon, if it doesn't come back favorable, they'd have to come back for a modification. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to issue a building permit unless all these what happens, I'm sure you know this, but with this letter, with the approval letter and the conditions of approval upon an issuing of a building permit or the application of a building permit, all these conditions need to be met before I sign off on a building permit. So if this site plan is not updated with all these things, it doesn't happen. If Davison comes back and says, that this will be detrimental, you'd have to come back for a modification, to figure out how to do it to have less impact.
Yes, project schedule wise, are you guys looking to start this like ASAP, or because I wouldn't want you guys to have Davison go out and then we get stopped at the building permit part and have to come back for modification, because that's more time than it would have been just to wait the month.
We still have even after your approval, we still have many steps to go before it even gets to a building permit. Um, you know, even when we submit the plans, usually it's 3 to 4 weeks of review at the town, with all the different people check it over again. It actually goes to the health for sign off again, building, fire, all these people have to look at it. So, I'll call Matt tomorrow morning and tell him, hey, we're going to be doing the blasting in the corner that you know about. Can you just please give us a letter and tell us what time of year we should do it? And do you think there's going to be any major impacts? Can you write a letter so that we can submit it to Maria at the town as part of the condition of approval? And then we can add those physical dates and times onto our plan as it's updated prior to submitting for the building permit.
Unless I'm misunderstanding, it sounds like all that can be done concurrently, so I would think waiting the month doesn't put you behind schedule, right? Or does it?
It puts us behind schedule in the fact that the last part of closing depends upon approval from the Inland Wetlands Commission. So the money's in escrow, ready to close. They're waiting for tonight's approval to be able to physically close and own the project. Own the property, not own the project, own the property.
Okay.
And that's why, all these things are so minor as far as conditions of approval. The blasting is, you know, I can't speak for Davis Environmental. They're the professionals that are going to come about it, but it's so minor as compared to the, whole scope of the project.
Well, I think it sounds like we can put in our conditions that we want to understand more about the impacts on this blasting on the wetland. Not so it's kind of twofold. What are the impacts? And assuming the impacts can be mitigated by time of year, then that would be okay. But I think also in the condition it would be if the impacts are significant as deemed by Davidson Environmental, then that would have to be kicked back to us for
Yeah,
modification.
we have no problem with that. Obviously, if there's going to be an impact, we want it to come back to you. We want it done right. But, the the septic, the everything that's going on, is kind of the meat and potatoes. The blasting is just kind of like the parsley on the plate that it's so small. But I understand we want to get it right and we want to hit everything, and that's why we'll have Davidson do that work for you and get that.
If it was I'm sorry to belabor the point. If it was a significant impact, would that still garner an approval, or would that be a rejection? You'd have to come back for a new application.
Would that be a taking? If you wouldn't let them build on it or no?
What's that? I don't know what that is.
So taking is like what we had with old schoolhouse where they were trying to put this tiny house and it was crazy, except that it was an approved building lot. I assume, and so you can't say no, you can't do this
Mhm.
ever. You can't do anything. You'd have to modify. So that in that case, that was a highly modified and conditionalized application, so they could squeeze that house there, we couldn't say no, even though the lot wasn't super conducive to building because it
Mhm.
was an approved building lot. And you can't do, I don't, I think what Maria, am I getting that right? That's a taking if you just
Yeah,
say,
that you can't say, though, however, I don't know, this lot has never been built on, and it is not, um, it's not an official
Yeah,
subdivided lot, it's a parcel
Yeah.
of
So what
land.
we'd
I don't
actually,
think
go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't think that's what the goal is. I think it's just making sure one that any impacts one way or the other, yes or no, are documented, and then if there is some sort of moratorium time frame, making sure that we adhere to that, which I think would be after the breeding season. But that would be based on Davidson Environmental's feedback.
right, which is what we would, regardless of how we do it, we would, that has to go into um, our condition of approval.
Okay.
So however we end up wording that, we would cover all of those bases. It would be, let's figure out what the impacts, let's figure out the timing, and if it's deemed significant by Davidson and it needs to come back for modification, like how else can you move the driveway? Can you make it smaller or whatever? Then that gets kicked
Right.
back.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, no, I
I-
think that sounds good. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I will start us out then. I'll make a motion that oh wait, no, I'm gonna share my screen.
Yeah, pull up the stat sheet.
No, no, hold on. Let me I think this is it. Is this right? Yes. All right. So I'm gonna make a motion that we approve application 25-45, 983 Boston Post Road, with the following um, listed um, conditions. And this is why I need to let Maria pull it up next time. Did you want to pull it up, Maria?
I'm
Or you're
I'm
typing?
I'm typing away, so if you
Okay. So, all right. So I think so. What we have is kind of our standard that the agency's agents will be notified 48 hours prior to commencement of any regulated activity. We have our standard language about ENS measures and adhering to those and installing them at the limit of disturbance, having this orange flagging as a visual reminder. Um, we also have two conditions linked to the planting plan so that we have um, a, a specified planting plan, an updated site development plan. So specifying that will be on development plan. We also have that we will monitor these plantings, not we, somebody else, and update the agency's agent and making sure 80% of those um, will have survived after 3 years. The other conditions we've talked about that I'm including in this motion are making sure that all the wetland delineations and flaggings are included on the revised site plan. I thought there was another wetland thing.
I have site plan needs to be updated to include most recent wetland flagging dates.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Condition number
Um,
5.
okay. Perfect. And then I guess 6 would be this
Condition
having Davidson going out to get to determine if there are impacts from the blasting on the potential vernal pool. You could just say wetland. Um,
So condition number 6, the site plan should be further updated to include blasting timeframe from a wetland soil scientist to minimize impacts on potential vernal pool. If impacts seem significant, applicant shall return to the agency for modification.
And then something
Nope.
about the
yes.
time frame.
To include blasting timeframe.
That
Okay.
was in the first sentence.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
the site plan should be further
That's
updated to
okay.
include a blasting time frame from a wetland scientist to minimize impacts on potential vernal pool. Do you want to report as well, or just is this the however,
think
I mean,
we'd like
that's
to
just
see.
something if you want to fix it, go ahead.
No. I mean, you can ask. I mean, I assume that they will need to. I mean, yes, we want we want the updated Davison report.
It'll probably
Um,
just be a letter
That's
giving,
fine.
yeah, just adding on to, the information that you want.
Um, okay. Well, I will leave it at 6. That is my motion.
What's second?
Oh,
Okay.
I added in here the proposed chain link fence needs to be replaced. That we talked
Yes.
about that, but I don't have an updated plan of that. So
Yes.
proposed chain link fence needs to be replaced with a rail fence to allow for passage of wildlife. Which I know
Yes.
Mike said they'll do, but it wasn't,
No, we want that, and we want
Yeah.
it on the site plan.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so that can
second
be
with that
7.
modification.
Okay, great. So we have our 7 conditions. We can now discuss, are there, thank you, Maria, but are there any other conditions that we'd like to put?
I
No.
don't have any.
Okay, I think this was good. So all in favor of approving this application as conditioned? Raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Okay, great. Well,
Thank you guys very much. Have a great day.
Thank
Great
Mike.
night.
too.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
And thank you, Anna, for persevering. And it's good to think
Sorry.
through those things. No, it's actually good to think through because I hadn't realized there was blasting. And so as soon as I heard that, I wanted to get more clarification. So it's good. And it'd be good
Yeah,
to understand
I
what's
did,
coming back.
I did this so weird because I did realize that and I don't know why I didn't put it. I thought I put it in here.
Okay, well,
It's
that's
all
all
right.
right.
Moving right
No,
along.
there's a lot. We have a lot going on. Okay, so our last application that of the evening is 25-46, 196 Durham Road. This is for Temple Beth Tikva, where they want to do kind of the reverse of what we often see. They don't want to do anything. They want to not do all the things they said. So so um so
Okay.
we can hear this.
Let me. Yeah, okay. I'm going to assume I have to share.
That is correct.
So let me get out of Boston Post Road and into 196 Durham Road. Um,
I'll start if you want.
yeah, you can. I'm just trying to figure out which. Okay, I'm going to open up all the thing. Okay, that was that. Okay, that's the old
Okay.
drainage report.
First of all, I want to say congratulations, Kilo, on your election tonight. Well done.
You.
Yeah, okay. So this is Temple Beth Tikva. It was previously approved. They're currently going for their CO right now. We have to go back to planning and zoning since it's a site plan modification. They're asking to not do a couple of the improvements that are there. And once Maria gets the plan up, there are a couple lights that are going to be removed. They want to do away with paving on the upper parking lot, and there's a small island to the west that they do not want to put in. It's curbing for that road. So if you zoom in a little bit, Maria, please. We highlighted in red. There were a couple of lights that were missing at the time of the survey, but now they are installed, and that was more or less for planning and zoning. The upper lot, where you say it says process stone, to the north of the building, That originally was going to be paved, but they just want to leave it as the processed stone right now. There's really not much to it. Down below on the south end, there's a plunge pool that they want to put a fence around since it holds water most of the time. It doesn't drain as we thought it would. It's not a big deal. We had Bob Russo take a look at it. It's growing cattails. It's a nice little feature right now. So instead of breaching it and making it drain out into the wetland as proposed, we would just like to leave it alone and put a small a fence around that with about 6 inches of clearance. So if there are any animals that want to migrate in and out, they can use that pond for breeding or whatever they want to, or their enjoyment, whatever they want. That's pretty much it. The second sheet shows all the plantings that were done. They substituted, so this was the planting plan that was done. They substituted a couple of plants in red, but they're essentially the same number. So all the plantings are in. To the north, they originally were going to have some plantings put in, but it's so thickly vegetated, and I get a letter from Bob Russo. You'll do more disturbance now trying to get those plants in and tree clearing, so it makes no sense to touch that entire embankment right now. And that's it.
Do you know what the plantings are that they changed? I was trying to
You can
dig
zoom in on
through.
that red circle there, Maria, to the west.
This one?
Yeah, yep. And they're all the native species. That was, what does that say?
Okay, so they just changed.
This says waiver of planting requested alternate planting.
Yeah,
And then some
so
plantings down here that were requested. I think I had the original stuff uploaded as well, or somebody uploaded the original.
yeah, so
Couldn't
and
find any.
the symbols are to the right. And you see it says if you zoom in, there's some nomenclature like QR. It says there that the one that's pointing to the red there. You see where it says waiver of planting, Maria?
Over here,
That red circle right in front of us.
this one.
I don't see your cursor.
Oh, yeah, it says one.
Yeah.
It says
So it
QR.
says one QR. So if
Yeah.
you go to the right of this sheet,
Is that an oak, red oak?
yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, so there's all
There
the
we go.
plant list. Those are all the nomenclature or the
Yeah, red oak.
symbols for that. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Um, okay. What is the fence going to be?
Just a short little stockade, to keep kids out, so kids don't walk. Not that any kids are wandering near the highway, but it's just going to be a short little. It could be a split rail fence, with some box wire along, 6 inches from the bottom or something like that. I'm not sure. We haven't thought about it, but it's just going to
Okay.
be something to protect kids from walking in there.
Okay. But as you probably have noted, chain link fence all the way to the ground is less
Yeah,
than
no, no,
ideal.
no. It's gonna be up 6 inches or so from the ground. Whatever fencing we
That's
do.
something they want because of the daycare truck.
Yes. Yep. Yep. And we don't want to alter that. It's working fine right now. So and it's working. It's stabilized. There's plants growing in there. We just don't want to bother with it.
Okay. Questions for the applicant?
Oh, no.
I have a
Nope.
question.
Yes.
Um, just out of curiosity, instead of the fence, I mean, unless they're hard and fast on that because of liability reasons or anything, but the plantings around the rain garden, I'm looking at, there's no reason why they can't do them. I mean, there's not that many that would provide a buffer, or would they rather have a
So
hard
yes, not
buffer?
all the plants are in, Maria. The ones in red, they substituted with those.
Oh, they
So
substituted.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yes, yeah. Those are all substituted.
I thought you were
Right. So
asking
you're
this
saying,
waiver of planting, so I thought you were
No,
asking
that's
not
incorrect.
to do them.
All those plants are in.
Okay.
You're waiving species, not their existence.
Okay.
Correct. The species are
That's what the
different.
way I was taking is they didn't want to do them. Okay.
Yeah.
But the back
Nope.
here at the overflow gravel parking, that's just existing, that whatever was existing, they don't want to add to that anymore.
Exactly. Originally, it was for screening for the residents behind, but I was there in the winter, and you can barely see any. It's very tough to see. And
Okay.
when I looked at it, there's some large. It's heavily vegetated with some pretty large trees, and to get
Okay.
those plantings in, we'd have to clear that hillside, which made no sense to me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's great if they don't want to clear that
No,
and plant it.
it's totally stable, and in the summer when people are out, you can't see past that 10 feet past there.
Okay.
And the paving is not going in.
On the upper lot, correct. We do not want to pave. We just want to leave the gravel like it is.
That seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Maria, is there anything else that we're missing? I mean, it
No,
seems pretty
I
straightforward.
mean, it's pretty, I've been out there, so I know what they were supposed to do and what they did not do according to the approval. And what, they're asking not to finish. Um,
Right. I mean,
so,
as far as
and I don't
wetlands
think
go,
it's mostly, it is in the review area, but it is mostly a planning and zoning thing. I feel just the plunge pool is the only was my concern of, that I think for us, but
as right, as far as keeping it and
Mhm.
just yeah, no, totally agree. And I think as long as the fencing is appropriate for wildlife movement, then that's fine.
Yeah, I'll review it with Maria before we set anything.
Um, so Maria, do you want me to share this,
Either
or
way,
do
yep,
you?
that's fine. If
Okay,
I have,
I
I
can.
can modify on my end if I need to.
Okay, oops. So you have to stop sharing.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
You
It's
know, it
not.
wasn't me. That's for sure.
Uh, all right.
Okay.
So this, can everyone see that?
Yep.
All right. Well, I'll make a motion that we approve application 25-46, 196 Storm Road. Um, this, what Maria had written is that the applicant shall maintain stormwater system rain garden in accordance with design engineers guidelines. Did that
Well,
cover what we need to
now they
do?
want to add a fence, so unless, we
Okay.
want to
So
make
then
sure
I will
that,
make, yep,
yeah.
I'm going to make a condition too that that the plunge pool rainwater storm system, the fencing should be at least 6 feet above the ground. No, 6 inches,
Just
6 inches above the ground, um, and not chain link in order to facilitate wildlife movement. So that's my motion.
I'll second.
I'll second that.
All right. Are there any additions or clarifications on those two conditions?
No.
Nope.
Are we good, Maria?
Yep. I just didn't
All
get
right.
who second. Who made motion? Who second? You motioned?
I
Anna,
motioned
Anna did.
and Anna did the second.
Thank you.
Um, okay. All in favor of this
Aye.
application as conditioned?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. It's unanimous. Great.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Gonna stop
thank you.
share. Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ooh, whoops. Hold on. I just knocked the wrong person off. Hold on.
I'm not taking Kilo's place.
Nope.
Okay.
That's you were 100%. That's what I
Okay.
did. Chuck's an attendee.
And she just got elected as president again,
Yeah.
or chairman. There she is.
Hi. I demoted you. But you're
Did I
back
was looking at the
now.
screen? I was like, where did I go? I'm gone.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, that was
Moving right
exciting.
along.
All right. So yes, let's move along. So we have one receipt. So this is just received. We're not acting on it. Please make sure to look at the um documentation for next month. That's for Lanton Hill Road. It's a construction of a new house, 4-bedroom house, and within the upland review area. This is a vernal pond. Um, so you can look at that. We walked this
I was
several
just
years
gonna say
ago.
we did. I'm not sure Anna, if Anna was there. I know Lee was there.
Yeah,
I don't think Anna was here. I don't think Steve was here.
no, it was
But I
a while
think
ago. It was a
it was
long
it
ago.
was
No, I
I know.
wasn't there.
Yeah, it was
Walk by. I mean, you could drive by and you could see the lot. So
you can see it.
yeah.
But it is a vernal pond, so you can keep that in mind. Okay, so we had section 13. Um a water conditioner system on Indian Trail. I'm
Yeah.
assuming that went well.
Hmm?
I'm assuming that went well.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then we have our tool of enforcement um from that we've been monitoring. So we have Liberty Street
Mm,
and Twin Bridges. So we can take Liberty Street first.
why did
And
not
let's see.
trying to promote Todd as panelist?
Okay. And
There
as
he
you'll
goes.
recall, we asked them to there was a letter sent asking them to remove the stockpiles wood chips and to delineate the site and then have it reflagged by soil scientists by today, and then come up with an inventory of the trees and plantings. Um, I'm just looking through the letter. Develop a restoration plan and figure out if those all those arborvitae need to stay. I think that's the gist of what we had. All right, yes, and so we have Todd Anderson here.
Yes.
Um, so
Ready? You ready for me?
yes, just
Good
going through what
evening,
we.
everyone. For the record, Todd Anderson, principal of Anderson Surveying LLC, 1575 Boston Post Road, Suite F in Guilford. Here on behalf of the Schultzes for their property on Liberty Street and Route 1. Also here tonight with me is Matt Davison, soil scientist from Davison Environmental. He was out to the site and explored the record inland wetlands boundary that we had remarked prior to the site walk based on what Rich Snarsky had done. I don't have that date on me right at the moment, but that was a few years ago. He has written a report and come up with a proposed remediation planting plan as well. Maria, do you want me to share my screen to show my new plan, or do you want to share it?
Good. I'd appreciate it.
Alrighty. Let me see if I can figure this out. How do I share?
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
there it is.
It's like if you can, I can do it. I have faith in you though.
Oh, hold on a second. Let me see here. I did have it open. Let me see here. There we go. Okay, so this is my new plan that we just did. It
Um,
shows,
that It's
Oh,
actually, it's your files. It looks like it's your directory.
You're sharing the wrong thing.
oh, you can't see my plan?
Uh-uh.
I'm just seeing all your we're just seeing your list of
Oh,
PDFs.
hold on a second.
I
Nope.
can do it if you're having issues.
Let me try it again. Because when I tried it the first time, it came up with the directory.
Yeah.
Let me see.
M-
Application Windows.
My problem is for some reason my Adobe crashed out, so I have very limited
Oh,
things I can
there we go.
share.
How about now?
Not yet. Here it is. There you go.
Yes.
Yay! Old dog learned a new trick. So we went out and located all of the arborvitaes. Let me zoom in a little bit if I could. They are all of these little guys here are all of the arborvitaes that were planted on the site. We also located all of the stumps that we could see that were at or above grade. The dimensions that are listed are the dimensions uh, at where it was cut off. So, as a caveat, that doesn't mean what the tree was at breast height. And as you can see here, we have a 36-inch tree. And when we set the benchmark in it, it was a 15-inch tulip. So that is actually at least double the size now at grade as what it was at breast height. Just to give you a point of reference for the sizing of all these. But these were all the circles are the stumps that we located throughout the site that were cut. And all of these kind of like pine tree looking things, those are all the arborvitaes that were planted throughout the site. Um, some outside of the wetlands, a majority of them in the wetlands. We located the best we could the edge of the brush removal. There are still some existing trees in this area, but all of the invasive underbrushes and the vines and so forth that were on the site, if you remember on the site walk, there was a definite delineation between the major clearing of underbrush and vines and so forth, and then an area that was untouched. So that is representative of that limits of that clearing. We did not go through and itemize all the existing larger trees that still remain in this area. There are a few, not a lot, but some. Um, but again, here is the record wetlands boundary that comes in through here. Part of this was reestablished as a lawn area. We did not delineate lawn from chip area because when he was out there, it was kind of indeterminate as to where the separating line was between the two. So he did not locate that. Um, so in Matt's report, and again, Matt is on the call as well, so he can talk further into the implications and remediation measures that he proposes and so forth. So at that point, let me toss it off to Matt, and then after his presentation, maybe we'll take questions, unless you have any questions for me right now.
No, we can be good to hear from Matt.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
For some reason, I don't see my name and I don't have a video option on. I must have to update my Zoom. For the record, Matt Davison, professional soil scientist.
I just promoted you to a panelist, so now maybe you could do it. Oh, I lost him.
All
There he
right.
is.
You almost demoted him.
Now I'm a panelist. So for the record, Matt Davison, Davison Environmental. I live in Guilford, Connecticut. Professional wetland scientist, professional soil scientist, certified professional in erosion and sediment control, certified forester. Um, as Todd mentioned, I initially went out to the site to look at the originally flagged wetland boundary. Todd's people had staked it for me so I could see the original flag locations, which was very helpful, especially given the fact that there was, the disturbance up along the wetland boundary or that side of the wetland. Generally, what I found is that obviously there's vegetation removal within the wetland area. And I found generally very shallow fill within the wetland where you see the lawn. If you're out there, the fill was in almost all circumstances less than 6 inches. In most places, it was really shallow. So I was able to see the original soil profile. I agreed with the wetland boundary. In some places, I thought it was a bit high. For example, over near the well. But given the fact that there was some fill brought in, I wasn't comfortable sort of changing it. I think it was very close. The remainder of the areas were pretty spot on. It's a deceiving area when you go out there and look at it. It seems like the wetland boundary might be high, but when you dig holes, the soils are actually wetter than what it looked like on the surface. Um, the wetland itself is at its lowest along Route 1. Along Route 1, there is a area that was ponded at the time of the inspection. It does look like it's seasonally flooded. It's a small area. It's right up against the road. Could it be a vernal pool? Possibly. I would say that there's a good chance it dries out early in the late spring to summer. It's also right up against Route 1, so the habitat quality would be marginal if it was a vernal pool. But I obviously it's not the right time to do that kind of survey. Um, I was asked to I was asked to do a mitigation plan for this area, and one of the things we discussed was it worthwhile removing the fill and lawn area and the arborvitaes? And in my opinion, it's not. The fill is so shallow, I don't think it's really affecting the wetland. Everything is stable as well, so I don't think it makes much sense to open that area back up. And the arborvitaes, despite the fact that they're not native, aren't really harming anything. They're there, they're stable. Um, so what I was proposing in my my letter report I submitted just today, so many of you probably haven't seen it. I do provide a planting schedule in there for this area with quantities and species. We didn't plot the locations. And then I also provided for some monitoring. And what I was proposing is primarily overstory plantings, just to reestablish an overstory there. I did look at old aerials. It was difficult to see how forested this area was. It looked like there's probably sporadic trees in the areas that were cut. Todd has the stump surveyed. It's difficult to tell how heavily wooded it actually was. But I was proposing in my letter 20 trees, 10 or 10 red maple and 10 black gum or tupelo. Um, and then for shrubs, I was proposing 3 shrub species, serviceberry, which would be a taller growing shrub, 5, and then 20 sweet pepper bush, which is pretty common along the shoreline in this area, and then some 20 winterberry as well. And then I proposed in my letter monitoring, and the monitoring is essentially to um, make sure that native vegetation is reestablished in this area. It would be over a period of 3 years. The success standards are standard 1 is at least 80% of the surface area of the mitigation area shall be established within indigenous species within 1 growing season and maintained as such for the remainder of the area, and then or the remainder of the 3 years. And then standard 2 is that the mitigation area is properly stabilized, which it is now, so I don't suspect that will be an issue. One of the good things, I guess, if you can say, about the area that was disturbed is it does create a nice palette for plantings. It's very easy to get into. There's access off Route 1 there, and then it's very easy to maneuver in there. There are portions of this wetland where there's pretty dense shrub growth especially along Route 1. A lot of it's multiflora rose. I suspect that before this area was disturbed, a lot of that upper boundary there was probably shrubby as well. That's pretty much what I have here. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Questions? Does anybody have questions for Mr. Davison?
I know you haven't had time to plot the plantings, but generally, where do you expect them, or where are you going to recommend that they be?
Within that disturbed area, basically, if I submitted the letter today, and it probably honestly does make sense to plot them on the plan. If for nothing else, just to make sure that the numbers I'm proposing work. I don't think it's underplanted at the spacing I'm providing, but it would be nice to make sure that it is that the plantings do fit in there. But essentially throughout that lawn area down into the arborvitae area up to where it meets the wood line, essentially, I think would be the logical place to plant them. That area is open now where the vegetation was removed. It's very open. So
Yeah.
you establish some. The other thing that reestablishing some canopy cover there would do would be to discourage future invasive species colonization. I mean, you're probably going to fight it for a year or two. I suspect that there will need to be some treatments in year 1 or 2 to knock back some of the stuff that will sprout in that area, unless it's able to be maintained mechanically during that time. But it would be probably difficult to pinpoint those specific invasive species and eradicate them without professional help. There's also photos in my letter too that might be helpful.
You can share Matt's letter if you'd like.
Um,
No,
well, go ahead.
I said that I have it on my other screen, so I've been looking at it, but
Same.
It shows the photo 2 shows that area that's inundated. Again, it's a small area. It's right up against the road. And then photos 3 and 4 are good vantage points of sort of the majority of what was reworked. You can see it's clearly lawn. And then, for example, in photo 3, you can see the wetland stake on the left-hand side of the photo. That was the upper extent of the wetland.
I'm trying to find it.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, you know what? I didn't download it onto my computer. I
That's
just
okay.
have it in an
Yeah,
email.
Are
we
you
have it.
sure? Because
We
I
have it.
have it. I could do it if you need it. You just say it. If you, let's see.
So when do you expect the plantings to be done? Probably late spring, is that?
I think so, yeah. That's just along the Route 1 where it's most dense. That's the inundated area there, right up against Route 1. And then these are the areas that were mostly disturbed.
Well, I think it would be good to get them on the plan. I think this looks like a, a good plan. I like the idea of trying to reestablish canopy cover. Given, I didn't count them all up on the plan, but there's a significant number of trees taken down of some of, reasonable DBH. And the species, just list looks good to me. Um, are there other comments from the agency? So for our next step here is to kind of move this enforcement forward. And if we're happy with, what's been presented tonight, we can um, move this forward so that when the growing season comes, they can get this all planted and implemented and be year one this year.
Yeah, we can do
So-
that. Well, next month we could see a plan with the trees located with the new plantings located on it. Would that be the next logical next step?
Yeah, you can do another, corrected, amended order to have the plantings added to the plan. And you can either put in there that, now about a planting deadline, or you can wait until after you see the plan next month.
I don't think that would slow anything down, so I would say we defer giving the go-ahead until we actually see it next month. That would still give them time, I would think.
As far as, yeah, planting, because we're not going to plant in February,
Right.
sadly. It's
I think
not
if we
here.
Without-
are gonna wait,
Without a
sorry.
lot of effort too, we could put some of the notes onto the plan too, so that whatever contractor picks it up has everything they need right in front of them. So they're not looking at parts of my letter and then parts of the plan.
That's
Mhm.
excellent. That would be excellent.
Yeah. And go ahead, Anna. What were you going to say?
No, I was gonna say that, especially when it comes to the herbicide part, or I'm sorry, not the herbicide, the invasive treatment. I'm sorry, invasive treatment part.
Yeah.
If invasives do pop up.
Oh, you mean what is the plan?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Did you see anything that you think there's going to regrow, or no, you don't think there's going to be any regrowth? Matt?
You might get some stump sprouting. There's not a ton of stumps in there. And then given the fact that it's lawn now, you're not gonna have as much regrowth as you would have had if you just sort of cut and walked away, I'll say.
Mhm. So
Um,
you're not going to have overcrowding issues, you don't think, after?
No, I don't think so. I was hesitant on the shrubs, but because of the fact that it's been cleared and essentially planted with lawn, I do think you could establish shrubs there. The problem with shrubs is that a lot of times what your native rootstock there just outcompetes it within the first year or two and overtops it. I think
Okay.
some of the other applications you had on tonight sort of reference that, and that's a lot of times what we see in the field. And a lot of times it actually messes up your monitoring because you'll have a condition that requires a certain amount of survivability, and what you end up with is the same amount of native coverage, but it's just the rootstock that was there before as opposed to what you planted.
Okay.
But in this case, I think you can plant the shrubs. One of the reasons I chose clethra too is it does have a pretty aggressive sort of spreading um, tendency. You see it and it gets pretty dense. Um, what I would anticipate here is that you plant it all and that they're probably going to just, my recommendation would be just to engage someone like All Habitats and just literally put them on a 3-year contract is what I tend to recommend. And just have them go out every year and whatever you see, they're pretty reasonable with their pricing. Whatever you see, get rid of it. And that sort of takes care of your monitoring as long as you're staying on top of the invasives.
Okay. So we're going to add location of plants and the planting list onto the plan, right?
Yeah, and then I would do the monitoring conditions. Just sort of a mitigation plan sheet, basically.
And then the
Yeah,
invasive treatment instructions on the plan as well.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
end up going to the that would end up being, so my report would say, I see invasives and here's what I'm recommending, but I could
Okay.
put some additional detail on there as far as like contacting an All Habitat. They're local, they know
Okay.
what they're doing. You don't have to handhold them.
Okay.
okay, that sounds good. So, do we have to vote on this? Or are we just never can remember with enforcements?
I know it's amended, correct, Steve? What's your recommendation? I mean, we're
Because we're
amending,
amending.
amending the corrective order.
All right. Well, I'm going to make a motion that we amend the corrective order as just discussed and as written by Maria right now.
Second.
Okay. So, I mean, we've just discussed that, we want to essentially kind of combine the information from Mr. Davison's report, put the location of the trees, and the shrubs, and the number onto the site plan, along with notes on planting and treatment and monitoring,
Okay.
essentially. Any other discussion? All right. All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
I,
Any opposed? All right, unanimous. Okay, great. So we'll look forward to seeing that combined product next month.
Great.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you
Thank
very much,
you.
everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you. Okay. So our next one is 131 Twin Bridge Road. This was another enforcement that we asked for them to again submit um uh some idea of restoration plans. This one, as you'll recall, again, it was, a pretty significant clearing, but they're waiting um, to get septic approval. Is that right? Still?
Yeah, I think we have Austin on here. I think
Okay.
he did submit the a more revised plan, but the plan eventually is to build the home, but they haven't been able to apply for the regulated activity permit yet until they clear their, they get their septic approval. So,
Okay.
Austin, if you want me to share the plan, are you there? You. There he is.
You there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi. Yes, you can share it.
Can you all see that?
Yes. So let's see.
Unfortunately, I cannot, again, my PDF version has failed me, so I can't really zoom. I don't know where
Okay.
it's coming through some kind of reader or something. But I could, Austin, do you have any, can you comment on this at all and what they've done?
So, I had Rich Snarsky come out 1 week after our December 1st meeting, and he came up with a planting plan, which I gave to my engineer, Nafis and Young, and then this is what they came up with for the planting plan. And you can see the limitations of the lawn as well, highlighted in green. And then the septic, I believe, was approved December 29th. It was just
Oh,
approved.
wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so
Okay.
we're moving along slowly but surely, but we're getting there.
And I'm trying to see for the planting.
Yes,
So I'm looking for the key.
It's down here, planting list.
I can pull it up to on my phone so I can read you if you can't see what they are.
Like I can make it bigger if I'm not sharing it.
So, if you can see
I
this,
can't figure out how to, oh, wait. I think I figured out how to do it on here.
okay.
Yay!
Oh,
Oh,
okay. You've got shadblow,
Yep.
dogwood,
Flowering dogwood,
maple,
red maple,
and
gray
gray
birch.
birch. So you don't have other um hmm, okay. So you've got mostly trees and a shrub?
Yes, this is what Rich came up with as the vegetative buffer.
Okay. Um and then it looks like the green is all the lawn. So what is between the lawn and the trees?
So right now there's just, I would say, like low-lying brush.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't plan on having that big of a lawn, just pretty much the limitations there. And then I guess it would just remain as low-lying brush to that new tree line.
Okay. Questions from agency members? Or not?
Anyone?
I mean, yes, I mean, basically, we want to, as with the last application or enforcement corrective action, just kind of make sure we are moving forward, especially as we're heading into the growing season, March, April, May. Well, April, May. And so, if this looks reasonable, so Rich Snarski, you know, has, has recommended this, which is great.
Yes.
Um, and I guess my only question is then, i- so, and I'm trying to figure out where the regulated activity, the 100-foot review is.
Oh, did you need me to? I'm sorry, I closed that.
Oh, that's okay. No, I see. So the it looks like the review, at least on the, what is that, the south side, is lawn. So it looks like some of your lawn is within the regulated activity area.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So this
Um,
blue line, right, is all regulated area.
Yes. Yep.
And the house and everything is outside. It's the septic.
Yeah, it's a septic.
When it
Yeah.
comes time for the application, it'll be the septic and
it's gonna be the septic. Okay.
yeah, mostly the septic plantings, the buffer
Okay.
and the lawn.
Right.
The
Okay.
driveway and the construction of the houses will be outside of it.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, and I guess, you could think about if, as continue to work on your house for that buffer, that area between the new tree line and the lawn.
Yep.
Um, Sometimes people put in, split rail fence or something if you're really gonna leave it alone or
Okay.
whatever you choose to. I mean, that's just if you're not gonna have it as lawn and you're gonna have those plantings, you could just really, cordon it off a little.
That would be
Right.
more of a hard
Wow.
delineation instead of, as well as the buffer, even maybe just along one side.
Right. I got you. Okay.
Yeah,
That's fair enough.
and then it keeps you where you know where your boundaries are and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because the flags aren't going to last forever. So having that
No,
number of new
no.
trees would be good.
Okay. Um, well, not hearing anything from anybody. I
Well, there's
will,
a
I will.
couple of
Okay, go ahead.
conflicts in the planting plan. You've got you've got a dogwood called out in common name as gray birch when really you're looking for gray dogwood. And you've got sugar maple as Acer saccharum, and it's listed as red maple. So
Oh, nice catch.
I would try to figure out which it is you want with the maples. And as far as I'm concerned, gray birch is not acceptable at all. It won't last that long. But if you're planting along the wetlands, the gray dogwood would be what you wanted.
Okay, so a gray dogwood instead of a gray birch.
Well, gray dogwood is what the Cornus racemosa is.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not
But is
familiar
that
with these
native?
terms.
Yeah, gray dogwood,
Okay.
great twig dogwood is native.
Yeah. So I think what's interesting about the choice of dogwood is that a lot of the dogwood, maybe the disease has already, kind of run its course, but for the native dogwood, they got hammered
That
in
was
the
a number
last.
of years ago. They seem to be doing
Yep.
okay now.
Right.
Back in the
So
80s, we thought we were going to lose them all.
well, even back in the early 2000s, mid
Yeah,
2000s, there's been a lot of them knocked out, that I've seen. But
yeah.
um, I think red maple is great, shadblow is great. Um, but yes, those are the common name and the scientific name for the two bottom two species don't match.
They should be clear. Yeah, definitely be clarified if that's inconsistent.
Yeah. Yeah. One is saying the scientific name is saying sugar maple, but it says red maple, and the other is saying gray dogwood, but the common name is saying gray birch. So I would sort that out.
Okay. All right. So maybe the common names were then mixed up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I would check with Rich Snarsky's
Okay.
recommendation.
Okay.
Whatever he recommended, I would go with.
I don't think
Yeah.
Rich Snarsky made that mistake.
No, I don't think so. I think probably the translation between,
Uh-huh. From
his
Rich's notes
report
to the, yeah.
to the designers or engineers or whoever. That's probably what happened. Thanks, Steve. That was a great catch.
I gotta do
Um,
something with my forestry degree.
well, that's good. Okay. Well, does anybody besides me want to make a motion? All right, I'm gonna do it. You guys, I'm giving you
I
like
can't, so
three
go ahead.
seconds.
Somebody has to.
So I'm gonna move and make a motion that we approve this corrective action for 131 Twin Bridge Road, as you know, approve this planting plan, but getting the names of the species corrected,
Yes.
and being able to move forward with that plan in the spring. And I
So you,
guess, yeah, go ahead, Maria. You're gonna ask me about the date.
well, no, you want to so we're up, okay, approve an
Well,
upholding.
yeah, what do we, well,
We're not amending anything anymore. We're accepting this plan. Okay.
is that the right wording?
Um,
We can, however
yeah.
you want to word this is fine.
And do you want to,
Well, I can make a motion that we amend the corrective order to, implementing this planting plan.
okay.
How about that? That's probably better language. So
Okay.
we'll amend the corrective order to accept this planting plan with the correct plants listed. That's
Okay.
going to be my motion. And is there a second?
Yep.
Steve, yes. Okay, discussion.
I've discussed everything I want.
Okay. Anybody else?
Do we need to specify, have them specify the size of the plantings, or is everybody okay with how it is now?
I guess I would recommend, 'cause, I mean, Rich typically has, I think there was some lost in translation here, I imagine. So I don't know what his,
I
We
when I
did
told
not get
to
a
look
you
oh,
didn't
go
give us a report, right, Austin? Just,
ahead. No, it's just what Nathus and Young drew up.
okay.
okay. Um, yeah, so that's a good point, Lee. I guess it would be
Well, there's
helpful.
size specifications on the letter.
What
They're
letter?
talking about with a, oh,
Which letter?
Yeah,
no,
I'm
sorry.
yeah.
That was the previous
That
one?
was that was the previous one. I had
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
taken that one
Yeah, the
down.
previous one, yeah, take that, yeah. Um, so I guess I think what the some other information that would be helpful in addition to correcting the names would be which isn't here, but which typically we see from soil scientists who are recommending restoration plans,
What are
would
the
be
size?
the
Yeah.
size and a monitoring plan, the
Does he have
size
a
you just.
number of plants or no? There was a,
Well,
Mm.
it looks like you've
oh,
got
it's
these.
keyed. Okay. Yep. It's key. I
It's
see if I see the,
keyed.
yeah.
Yeah, so the key's there, but I think it would be, helpful to have the size.
Okay.
Um, and then a monitoring plan, just, one of these plans that these, kind of a 3-year, have these, have they established, do you have 80% survival after 3 years? What are we seeing year after year with respect to, are these trees taking
Mhm.
hold?
Right.
So we'd want to, add that to this amended action, I guess.
Um, my recommendation is that we know that Austin is working towards a regulated activity for a single family home. However, should something happen where that gets delayed, do you want to put a deadline on a planting to make sure that the property's been mitigated? And at least get the plantings done. Maybe they decide they don't want to build until next year, or,
Yeah,
you know,
no, we want the planting done by the end of June.
Yeah,
okay.
that's right there.
Okay.
They,
Works. And
because
then
then,
Maria, we can start working on the permit now since the septic was approved.
Oh, on the wetland permit?
Yes, on the regulated activity
Yeah.
permit.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I'm
And
assuming it's gonna,
it seems like engineering firms kind of take charge in that. So should we have our engineer fill out the permit information? How does that work?
yeah, I would talk to them about it,
Okay,
and have them guide you into it again. And then, this planting plan would have to be part of that regulated activity permit.
right. Yep, makes sense.
right. I think we haven't voted yet, so I want to vote on
Go,
this.
yes, I'm sorry. We went, we
That's okay.
squirreled.
Yeah. So all in favor of this amended corrective action as discussed, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So we are officially approved.
Okay.
Um, okay. Yes. So yes, the planting plan would want to be on whatever application comes through. But regardless, there's a date for getting this
Yes.
started.
Right, so I'll send you another amended corrective letter
Okay.
with the additions that need to be done, and then the planting deadline, which will probably in all reality take place prior to your house being, oh,
Yeah, I don't think
yeah,
house can get built that fast.
yeah.
But
So,
yes, absolutely.
okay,
Alrighty, cool. Thank
All
you
right.
guys.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Happy New Year.
Happy New
You
Year.
too.
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year.
Okay. So next we have approval of the minutes. So hopefully you had a chance to glance through them. I read through. I didn't see anything outstanding.
I didn't see
Um,
anything
I,
either.
I thought they looked good. Okay. All in
I move
favor?
I move
Oh, good. Yes.
I move we approve the December 1st, 2025 meeting minutes.
Second,
Okay. All right. All in favor? Raise your hand. Say
Aye.
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 Okay. Approved. All right. Next we have correspondence. If you had a chance to look at it, this is an ongoing dialogue um between neighbors. I did ask Maria about, you know, if some of what
Yes.
was brought up, and it sounds like Maria's been out to the site. She's
Yeah.
been watching the planting. Go ahead,
So
Maria.
this
You
was
can just
this was a an old violation that has been at 144 Neck Road, a clearing violation that was probably like 3 years ago, and was mitigated and closed, and we received a correspondence concerned about it. And I just wanted to clarify that if you had read the correspondence, some of the items in the correspondence um, were, I'm not sure, but I want to clarify that the person stated that the plantings were not, that you recommended were not planted, and they were. A planting plan was initiated and approved or by Rob uh, Bob Russo submitted a planting plan, and I witnessed the plantings. So I'd gone out to the site. There was a number of trees that had to be planted, and I went out to the site because there was so many, and there was already some regrowth that there was a concern of crowding, and we, made sure we got everything out there. And I've been out to the site numerous times over the course of the construction of the home, and the same owner came back for a modification for a retaining wall, and then so I've seen the plants planted and witnessed the growth of some of the plants. So um, I just wanted to clarify that it was sent to the agency. We have to bring it to your attention. I don't know if you've read it or not read it or had any questions.
Well, I just read it, Maria, so I kind of was half listening to what you just said. I apologize. But is the letter factually incorrect? Is that what you're saying?
I can't say, I mean, I don't know where, well, there does state in the letter that the plantings, let me bring it up, something about like it wasn't done. And I can attest to the fact that it was done. Um, it says in there something about the plantings did not occur, and I was out there myself. I received a call from, like I said, the owner of, or the person who was, orchestrating the construction, and Mr. Russo the morning of the plantings. Mr. Russo had concerns about the number that were going in and that he was running out of room to put them. So we went out there and, made sure that everything fit. I didn't want to reduce the number on my own.
Right.
So I know that they were planted. The fact that it says that they were not, to me is it's not correct. I was out there and witnessed it myself.
Okay.
They also state that the plants are not taking, or there's not a survival rate, and I don't know how that can be proven without somebody entering this person's property, and they did not have permission to enter this private property. So I don't know. It says the monitoring, we're in here. The record contains monitoring reports by dated April 24th, 2024 by A. Stevens, with a survey showing 32 surviving wetland plants. That again is not exactly correct. I believe what they're speaking to is a plan from Thomas A. Stevens and Associates that was date stamped April 24th, 2024, when they needed to add a retaining wall, which noted some of the existing plants on the property. That by no way was a report. I mean, that's Thomas A. Stevens. It's not a soil scientist. So
Right.
that's an engineering firm. That was not any type of report about survival rates, or that was for something entirely different, for a retaining wall that just happened to note um the location of some of the closer plantings near the retaining wall. So I don't know where some of the stuff is maybe misunderstood. And again, it could be because they're not, whoever prepared this is not getting, was not in on the whole story, the whole process. And again, saying that the plants were not, I observed the plantings myself. I was there. Walked down into there with, with
Right.
Mr. Russo, and moved plants around, and half of them were already in the ground when he had several that, he could not fit, and we'd found a place to put them. So, the 3-year monitoring is not up yet. His final, the 3 years of survival rate is up this spring or summer. So
Yeah.
I don't have I can't tell you what's survived or not because it hasn't come yet. It's the plantings took place in June of 2023 or August of 2023 or something like that. So,
Okay.
in the summer of 2023. So they're due to find, to get that number.
So when you get a letter like this, do you call them, or what do you
Call
normally do?
whom?
The people that
I
wrote this
I
letter?
did not reach out to the complainant. I did speak to the homeowner. Um, I don't know if I
Okay.
really even have contact information.
I was
Um,
just curious,
yeah, they have the contact information. I guess I do, and I can, you know, it's again, they can't enforce me to enforce something.
Right.
Um, so the ecological services that did their report, again, I don't know how accurate they could be. They didn't have permission to enter somebody's property, so I don't know how they can um assess what's surviving or not. They have sent letters, and as Kay has said, this has been an ongoing, I don't want to say neighbor issue, but
I remember it. Yeah,
yeah.
because I've just glanced at it. It sounds like they're not happy because they can see their neighbor now, is the way the letter
I
kind
know
of
they were not happy that the
reads to me.
size of the trees were reduced because I remember at one point I think like full 7 foot tall trees were
Right.
posed, and that's just, it was financially like unable, they'd have to crane them in, and it
Right,
was
right, right, right.
so they
I
reduced the
remember.
size of them. Um but the number, there was quite a few.
Right,
Um yeah, there's also, a letter that you could see in there. I don't think anything ever became of it, but a letter that they've wrote to their attorney. They tried to get an attorney involved. I don't get involved in any, neighbor disputes or civil
good
matters.
for you.
Um, it's not really our, purview. They did address it to you, and I had to let you know, and I just wanted to again, clarify some of the things in the letter were not, not necessarily 100% accurate by what
Right,
I
right,
know.
right, right.
I'm not a soil scientist. I can't speak to the survival rate, but the owner of the property does know that they do need to get Mr. Russo back out there, or someone else to speak of, the survival rate of the plant this spring. So, of the trees. So I
Is
know
the
that
Board of
they want.
Selectmen getting on?
I'm sorry?
Is the Board of Selectmen getting on you yet?
No.
Okay.
For what?
For having a gripey neighbor.
No, you
Okay.
can't
Yeah,
really. Nobody could really compel me to
No,
enforce. So yeah, I mean,
yeah.
um,
And it sounds like the letter,
I'm just speaking from experience.
yeah, no, they, in all honesty, yes, they have reached out to the first selectman quite a few years ago
Yeah.
regarding this complaint. I think it was one of the things that started the bandwagon, for other things, but there's nothing, it was taken up with the proper agency. It was a violation in the wetlands. It was a corrective action was made. I was not the wetland officer at the time during the violation process and the corrective orders, but I happened to be the wetland officer when they actually did the plantings. So
When
that's
when
how
did
I
you
know.
when did you sorry to interrupt, Maria. When did you say Russo's going to be out there for the
He would
3
have to go back
exercise?
out this spring. The 3 year survival rate would be up this spring for the
Well,
three,
that's his time.
growing seasons.
Seems to me that'd be the time to deal with it because he could
Yeah,
basically.
and then if nothing has survived, or less than 80% has survived, and the owner is aware that they do have to take care of it. They've also implemented, I think at the time, again, I don't, I'm only reading past history because I was not involved at the time. There was a Phragmites, remediation that they had to do that they've taken care of too. So um, that was done, and that should only help anything out there grow as well. But um, that's
Okay.
where we're at. I can contact the complainant and say, it's not time yet really to determine, and we.
Yeah, have him. That seems to me it seems to me that it's important to contact them, but it sounds like, you know, we in the previous approvals, there was a methodology to make sure happened and it worked. And
Mhm.
that's going to happen in the spring, and just wait till Russo comes out and then we'll deal with it then. That's
Right. If there's no survival rate, and if they're less than the 80%, then it'll be taken care of.
yeah, I mean, what more do they want, right?
Yeah,
So,
well, that's what's in our purview. It's
all right,
that's that's what we can deal with.
right.
Okay, so yeah, so I guess we'll wait to hear about the report
Mhm.
whenever it comes, and then we can address that then.
Okay.
Fun. Okay, remarks. Well, thank you all for your support in being the chair again this year. One of you are going to be very lucky next year. But we'll have fun this year, so this will be good. Any and Happy New Year. Any comments from you, Maria?
No, we have no new receipts outside of the one Lantern Hill, so nothing else. I guess we'll hear Stone Road again next month and
Yes.
Lantern Hill. And so far, hopefully it stays a little quiet.
Good.
Yeah, that'd be great.
There was
Okay.
one thing I noticed on the files on the computer, the wetlands report for 39 Liberty Street also showed up in 131 Twin Bridge.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yes,
Yeah.
I saw that.
That's why
Because
I was
that's
starting to talk about what was on the letter, and then I realized, wait a minute, this isn't
So
property.
Kaya had, okay. So Kaya had mentioned to me that she didn't see.
I didn't. I couldn't. I went back a little bit
The
ago and
document center, yeah, so we have a new
got
admin.
Davison, but I didn't. But when I
Yeah.
went earlier in the day, the Davison one for Liberty Street wasn't there, but now it was. During the meeting, I went and looked and got it.
Right, because I
But
added it.
yeah. Oh,
You
okay.
emailed me and said it wasn't there, so
Right.
I
And I said
added
it wasn't there. Yeah. So I found that. And then, but Steve, you're right. Because I downloaded the,
And what was that one? Twin Bridge? What was in Twin Bridge?
the, the Davison report
Yeah,
for Boston Post
39
Road.
Liberty.
Oh, for
Okay, so
Liberty.
she put it in the wrong file. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fixable.
Yep.
Yeah. But that's why, because I was clicking. I was like, wait, I just read this for different application.
Right.
So,
So she put the
Off and then
planting plan.
realized this ain't
Okay.
it.
All right, I see what happened. Yeah, we
yeah,
have a new admin, so we're trying to
Yeah,
put
that's
her
okay.
independent. Okay, great. Thank you for letting me know that because I'll have her. I'm actually not going to remove it. I'll make her look and show her where it was and have her remove it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know I sent her both, and I was like, I sent her both things because they both came in today, so we had to
Yeah.
do some last minute uploading. So thank you.
All right. Any other comments?
That's it for me.
Any other motions?
I move that we adjourn the January 5th inland wetland meeting.
I second that.
All right. All right. All in favor?
Your name in the
Aye.
minutes.
Say aye.
Aye.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Excellent.
All right,
So we'll see you next month.
next
Bye,
month.
everybody.
Bye.